Hello everybody, Maven here, and I got every Everburning Glitz God Roll so you don't have to. It's the brand new 720 RPM Kinetic Auto Rifle that was dropping from Trials this weekend. It has two brand new perks that no other weapon gets, so it was definitely worth its own video. But the big question is it better than the Giver's Blessing 720 RPM Kinetic Auto Rifle that we got from Keplar? They're both competing for the same archetype and elements, so which one should you go for? Well, let's test it out. Hope you enjoy. Shout out to our sponsor, Advanced GG, the #1 gaming supplement in the world. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off. Link down below. Thank you. So let's start by checking out the perks the Everburning Glitz can roll with. So in column 3 gets Attrition Orbs, Lone Wolf, Subsistence, Dynamic Slow Reduction, Transcendent Moment, Bewildering Burst, and To the Pain. And in column 4 it gets Elemental Honing, Kinetic Tremors, Tap the Trigger, Ancillary Ordinance, One for All, Zen Moment, and Eye of the Storm. Now before we talk about the God Roll, let's first address these brand new perks. Bewildering Burst says reloading this weapon after defeating a target causes the next hit to launch a kinetic projectile that detonates into a disorienting blast. Now we're going to test that in both PvE and PvP. So first off, for PvE, you can see it kind of works like Kill Clip. Reloading after a kill will load this little explosive that jumps up into the air and disorients a target for a few seconds, kind of like a blinding grenade launcher. The damage it does is pitiful. The range is not that great. It's maybe somewhere between like 5 to 8 meters. And in PvP, it's pretty terrible. This is what it looks like when you get hit by it. It doesn't even fully blind you. The only good thing is that it removes your radar for like 3 seconds. But why does that matter? Because if you get shot, you probably know where you're getting shot from. So I don't think the radar removal matters too much. But here's what it looks like when I use it. The damage, again, is pitiful. It does like 13 plus 4, which is basically like a free shot's worth of damage, but it can be avoided if they are running or sliding. So is this perk worth it? Honestly, you be the judge. It's subjective. This is one of those something is better than nothing type of situations. Like, the perk does provide a niche benefit, but especially when it comes to PvE, would you rather have that over something like Subsistence or Attrition Orbs? Again, you be the judge. Next, we got the new Ancillary Ordinance perk. It says rapid elemental final blows and final blows on targets affected by elemental debuffs periodically prepare a homing micro missile, which is launched from your target after this weapon's next final blow. Multiple missiles can be prepared. So I'll be trying this out on Rhymeco Raiment Warlock because when you're standing in the vicinity of your bleak domain, you get those freezy rounds, which will debuff those targets, so every kill is guaranteed to make a missile. And if you look closely when I get kills, you can see that little missile twirl out of the top of targets that heat seek aggressively to another target and deal over 400 damage, which is not bad. Is it slow? Yeah, but it's not the worst. It's kind of like a build around perk though, and I could see it having some synergy with things like the Energy Acceleration Artifact mod, as well as the Hazardous Propulsion on Titan. But in my opinion, which I don't even feel is an opinion, I feel it's just a fact, is that Kinetic Tremors is still the king. It's the best kinetic perk in the game. It's always the best in slot on anything it rolls on. Seriously, name a weapon with Kinetic Tremors in which the God Roll does not contain Kinetic Tremors. It's impossible. This perk is just so good that it's always just the go-to whenever it's available. It procs fast, especially more so when enhanced. It deals a boatload of damage on those 3 shockwaves and essentially gives your weapon infinite range because those shockwaves have no fall off. It's a no-brainer. It's just the best. And here's where we gotta pull up a side-by-side comparison against the perks that the Giver's Blessing on Kepler can roll with, because they both got Tremors in the 4th column, but which one is better? Well, typically mag extending perks work great with Kinetic Tremors because they allow you to proc it more in a single magazine. And what is the best mag extending perk for a primary in the game? Rewind rounds. So far, the Giver's Blessing wins. The only significant thing worth mentioning is that the Everburning Glitz is capable of getting Attrition Orbs in that 3rd column, which is not only just a great utility perk to support builds that need orbs of power, but it also synergizes with Kinetic Tremors because both of these perks proc in the same way, which is dealing sustained damage. But my problem with an archetype like an auto rifle is that the orb is generated based on the mag percentage, and 720s have the largest mag size out of any primary archetype in the game, holding up to 72 at max. It takes 67% of the magazine rounded down to generate an orb. Perk progress does roll over to the next magazine though, so you're really only generating up to 2 orbs per mag, which at the end of the day is still value. That orb could come in handy for things like surges, kickstarts, Facet of Purpose, Echo of Starvation, or ability mods on your boots. But even if you didn't have attrition orbs, you could still generate orbs via things like Reaper and Kinetic Siphon. So while it's good, for me personally, I think I'd rather have the doubled mag size from rewind rounds on the Giver's Blessing. I just think there's a little bit more value to your gameplay loop having to reload half as often. It's just more efficient. And especially with things like firepower and heavy-handed, I'll be able to get my armor charge in different ways pretty easily. And if my goal is to make an invincible prismatic build of Facet of Purpose, I'd much rather use a weapon that could proc attrition orbs faster, such as the multi-mock, for example. Plus, when it comes to the origin traits, the Everburning Glitz gets Fleet-footed and Roar of Battle, which essentially do nothing for PvE and barely do anything for PvP, whereas the Giver's Blessing gets that Exhaustive Research origin trait, which actually does something awesome for PvE. It loads this heat-seeking micro missile, which actually does like a very respectable amount of burst damage with infinite range to it. It's actually pretty awesome. So if I'm being honest with you, I'd still use the Giver's Blessing over this new Trials Auto. I feel like the Trials Auto is pretty niche and you should only use it if your specific build calls for a ton of orbs, or if you personally feel that Bewildering Blast is a valuable perk worth going for. Otherwise, just stick with the Giver's Blessing. But when it comes to PvP, which auto rifle is better? Well, the God Roll perk in the right column is still going to be Kinetic Tremors, giving you that very consistent TTK even if you land off body shots. There's really no argument to be made for any other perk in the fourth column. But what about the third column? The Everburning Glitz has things like Dynamic Sway Reduction, Attrition Orbs to the Pain, Lone Wolf, and Bewildering Burst, and the Giver's Blessing has Moving Target and Demolitionist. And again, to be completely honest, no bias here, the Giver's Blessing's options are just better. Moving Target allows you to strafe faster during gunfights, which helps more than you think. Just ask Hinra, he'll tell you the same thing. And Demolitionist gives you some ability energy back, and nades can straight up help you win your ones in Crucible. I don't think that auto rifles absolutely need this accuracy and aim assist BS like Lone Wolf, Dynamic Sway, or To the Pain, because auto rifles are already laser beams. These things do not move, even if you're on controller. Bewildering Burst is really the only consideration, because while it is weak, it does technically do something minuscule to help your TTK potentially. And the only other thing we got to consider here is the weapon stats. The Everburning Glitz wins slightly in handling, reload speed, and airborne effectiveness, whereas the Giver's Blessing wins in every other stat, including range. So yeah, if I'm being honest, I still feel like the Giver's Blessing is just a better auto rifle for both PvE and PvP. But if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, because I'm sure someone will have something to say about it. We all have different playstyles, we all see things differently in Destiny 2, and we all value different things than other players do. So feel free to debate. And that's going to do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's helped. If it did, be sure to hit the like button and drop a comment, because it helps me out a ton. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here for more Ash and Iron content on the way. And I will catch you in the next video. See you later.